don't lose discipline at the 90-minute mark. You lose recovery. Every time you push through that crash, you're not getting tougher, you're training your brain to hate the work. Now, I know that sounds wrong because everything you've been told says discipline means never stopping, never slowing down, never letting the focus die. But that belief is the exact reason most people who want to be disciplined keep crashing on repeat. There's a rhythm that separates people who perform consistently for years from people who grind hard for a week and then they disappear. And it has nothing to do with motivation. It's got nothing to do with willpower. It's about recovery. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you is going to change how you operate. Here's the lie that most of us inherited very early on. Discipline means never stopping. If you rest, you're weak. If you slow down, you failed. If you hit a wall, you just push harder. And it sounds right. I believed it for a long time. I remember one morning, got my coffee beside me. My phone is put away. I'm locked in. The first hour was pretty good. It was clean. Everything's moving. Everything felt easy. And somewhere right around that 90-minute mark, it shifted. I read the same sentence about 3 times. I started checking my phone. I stared at extra tabs that I kept opening up that I really didn't need. And there it is again. You can't stay consistent. So I did what I thought disciplined people did. I forced it. I started pushing harder, grinding through, and it worked that session. But the next morning, oh man, it felt heavier. The same work I'd been excited to do started feeling like something I wanted to avoid. I kept calling that a discipline problem, but it really wasn't. It's actually a recovery problem. And once I understood that, everything I thought I knew about discipline had to get rebuilt from the ground up. I'll show you exactly why in a minute, because the mechanism behind this is not what most people expect. Here's the thing. Your brain is not built to stay in one gear all day long. Focus works in cycles, roughly about every 90 minutes. Your brain will move through this period of high intensity focus and then signals for recovery. Now, this isn't a weakness, it's simply biology. The problem is what most people do at that signal time. They misread it. They think things like, I'm lazy, or man, I'm weak. I just can't push through this. I lost it again. I was focused and now it's gone. No, that shift does not prove something is wrong with you. It's really a signal. Your brain is trying to reload. Now think about breathing. You inhale and then you exhale. And nobody says, I'm so disciplined I never exhale. That's not discipline. That's suffocation. That's exactly what most people are doing with their work. They're inhaling effort all day long, but never exhaling recovery. And they wonder why they crash. The crash isn't a character flaw, it's a missing step. Now that you understand why this is happening, the question really is, what are you going to do about it? And the answer is not what most people think. Now, I'm going to give you 3 steps in a moment, but before I do, I need to show you one shift that makes all of them work. Without it, none of this really works. For years, I had a pattern with sermon preparation. I'd wait, I'd tell myself I'd get it, then the night before, I'd sit down to try to write the whole thing in one setting. Every time, the same thing happened. I'd be overwhelmed, I'd be stressed out, and somewhere in the middle of all of it, I started hating the work. Not just the sitting, the work itself. And that created a guilt I couldn't shake. Because I'm supposed to love this. This is what I'm called to do. How do you hate preparing a sermon? So I'd push harder, I'd force it, I'd finally get something on paper, and let me just say, the result showed it. Then one week I tried something different. I sat down, working for 90 minutes, and then I stopped on purpose. I walked away from my desk, and I noticed something I had never felt in a long, long time. I actually wanted to come back. Not because the deadline was close, not because I was forcing myself, but because the rest had reloaded something. That session had produced a sermon I was proud of, cohesive, and prepared. And the work felt like something I was built for, not something I was grinding through. That's the shift. You stop being the person who forces it until it breaks, and you become the kind of person who works with the rhythm. Discipline stops feeling like punishment, and it starts feeling like this craft that you're getting better at. Now, here's the framework: 3 steps. Now, step 2 is the one most people skip, and it's the one that really determines whether all of this holds up. So don't check out before we get there. Step 1, protect your first focus window. Your first focus window is the most valuable block of attention that you have all day. The day hasn't fragmented you yet. You haven't answered 10 messages. You haven't filled your head with all other people's priorities. Most people destroy this window before they ever use it. They wake up, they grab the phone, they start scrolling, they start checking email, and then they wonder why their brain feels scattered before 9 a.m. Now, you didn't lose focus, you gave it away. Here's the fix. Before you sleep tonight, choose one task. The task that would make tomorrow feel like a win. When you wake up, that task gets your first serious block of attention. Not after scrolling, not after checking email, the first. If you give your best focus to distractions, your real work, it gets what's left over. So the step 1 is you've got to start making sure that it gets first priority. Step 2 is what makes it permanent. I call it the clean stop. Most people think stopping means quitting, so they wait until they're completely fried. Focus gone, frustrated, foggy, and then they finally stop. But that's not stopping. That is crashing. And there is a difference, and it determines everything about your next start. When you feel your focus starting to fade, right around that 75 to 90 minute mark, don't panic. Don't shame yourself. Don't reach for your phone. Do this instead. Take 2 minutes. Write down 3 things. Where are you at in that task? What's the next step? And what you will do when you come back. That one move changes your next start completely, because now you're not walking back into fog. You're walking back through a door you've already opened. Most people make starting harder than it needs to be because they leave the work messy. They stop mid-thought, come back confused, then procrastinate because they don't know where to begin. The clean stop fixes that. Every session ends by creating your next entrance. Everything I just gave you now, it builds up to this last step. And most people skip this. It's also the one that ties the whole cycle together. So don't skip it. Step 3 is what I call the reload window. Most people stop working, but they don't actually recover. They scroll, they watch something random, they call it rest. But it isn't. Their brain is still being stimulated, still reacting, still chasing inputs. Listen, that is not recovery. That's distraction, just wearing a different outfit. Real rest gives your mind space. So, take a walk, sit outside, move though without screens. Let your thoughts settle without chasing every one of them. 20 minutes of deliberate rest will completely change how you come back to the next block of time. Now, this is not soft, this is actually strategic. The rhythm is 90 minutes of focus work, 20 minutes of real recovery, and then come back. Focus. Stop, clean, reload, return. That is the comeback cycle. And here's what I want you to do tonight. Not someday, tonight. Take out a piece of paper and write one task. The most important thing you need to do tomorrow. Put it somewhere where you'll see it before you touch your phone. When you wake up, start that first task. No scrolling, no checking emails. The first thing you do. Then, when your focus fades, don't spiral out of control. Don't grind until you hate it. Write down where you are. Write down the next step. Stop on purpose. Take real 20 minutes of recovery. Come back. That's the test. Not whether you can force yourself forever, but whether you can return. The person who does this tonight is not hoping to become more disciplined. They're acting like someone who already is. And that version of you is dangerous. What you do in the next 24 hours decides which version of you shows up next week. Now, you may have started this thinking discipline was about pushing through walls. It's not. The people who perform consistently for years aren't the ones who never stop. They're the ones who stop correctly, recover fully, and come back every time. That's the comeback cycle. And now you have it. If you want to go deeper on building the identity that makes this automatic, watch this next video right here.